We are back from Lisbon, where we've just checked whether the Lisboa card continues in top form, and the changes that have been introduced have left us truly pleased. So we decided to put together an itinerary for you to make the most of Lisbon in 3 days, visiting the most important attractions in the city in the company of the Lisboa card. Hola, ¿qué tal? Hello, I am Tony Galvez from Road Trip Spain and Portugal and Travel Guide Spain and Portugal, where we help you plan the perfect trip with practical information, insider tips, and our very own travel guides. The Lisboa card is the city's official tourist card, and this is not the first time we've talked about it on the channel. For those who visit a city, tourist passes are often a mystery. Are they worth it? Are they not? Some tourist passes are excellent, others not so good, and you often have to rack your brains to come to a definitive conclusion about the suitability of this or that pass. Today we return to the Lisboa card to update the information and prices. As always, we bought the pass, paying for it out of our own pocket, because that's how we like to do things on the channel. When you pay for a service, you value it differently and you have total independence to give your opinion. We don't owe anything to anyone here. Our only commitment is to you. Let's first describe the basic features of the card and then see how to take advantage of it. The Lisboa card is a tourist pass, individual. Each person must have one pass. That includes a transport pass and an attractions pass in a single card. One card, two passes. With the transport pass included in the Lisboa card, you will be able to take unlimited rides on Lisbon's public transport, including the metro, the autocarros, the buses, the eléctricos, the trams, the elevadores, the lifts, including the famous Santa Justa lift, the ascensores, the funiculars, and several train lines, including those going to Cascais and Sintra and across the 25th of April bridge. We'd like to remind you we have a video on the channel where we explain in detail how the public transport system works in Lisbon. Lisbon public transport is spectacular, and to make the most of the city you need to be familiar with it. With the attractions pass you enter for free the one time in 40 attractions, and you get discounts of between 10 and 50% in a number of other attractions. The card is sold in 3 formats: 24, 48 and 72 hours. The time starts counting the moment you use the pass for the first time. If you buy a 24-hour pass and begin using it at 5 p.m, it will be valid until 5 p.m. the next day. You can buy the card at a tourist office in Lisbon or before you begin your trip on many websites. If you want to buy the pass before your trip, we recommend you do so at the Civitatis website we are showing on the screen. It is a trusted partner of ours here in the channel, and it is at Civitatis where we bought our very own Lisboa cards. At Civitatis you will pay the same price as you would do at the tourist office, but every time a Lisboa card is sold through the link we'll put below the video, we gain a small commission. When you finish the purchase, you will get a voucher from Civitatis. You need to print it and take it with you to a tourist office where you will exchange the voucher for the card. We exchanged it at the airport tourist office. At Lisbon Airport, the tourist office is just in front of the gate where arriving passengers reach the open part of the airport. You'll go through the door, turn right, and then turn left to find the tourist office. You will exchange the voucher that Civitatis will send you for the Lisboa card, remembering that the validity period of the card only starts to count the first time you use it, so you don't need to use it that day to leave the airport. If you are not arriving in Lisbon by plane, you can exchange the voucher at some of the main tourist offices in the city. Important, before you use the card for the first time, you must sign it and write the date and time of the first use. The transport card is used in the same way as the Navegante card, Lisbon's current transport card. Regardless of which transport you get on, you always have to validate your journey, either at the readers, in the metro, or inside buses, trams, lifts, and funiculars, by holding the card up to the reader. In the case of the free attractions included in the card, in the vast majority of them you will go to the fast lane for those who have already bought their tickets. Show your card and get in. In some attractions there is a totem where you validate your entrance to the monument automatically. For example, at the Hieronymus Monastery, a very popular attraction, you get in the fast lane without going through the ticket office. At the St. George's Castle, there is a fast lane for Lisboa card holders at the castle ticket office. The only exception is the Belém Tower, where you have to go first to the ticket office to pick up your ticket. The ticket office is 100 meters away from the tower entrance and counts with a fast lane for Lisboa card holders. For attractions that offer a discount, you will have to go to the ticket office to buy a discounted ticket. To get the most out of the Lisboa card, the secret is to select the highest priced attractions to get the most out of your investment. You will see next our proposal of a 3-day itinerary in Lisbon, making the most of the Lisboa card while implementing that strategy. All the attractions we visited during the 3 days, all of them are free with the Lisboa card. On the first day we visited the National Pantheon free with a card. We're showing in red the savings we accumulated at each attraction. The Tile National Museum free with a card. The Interpretative Center of the History of Codfish free with a card. The Lisboa Story Center free with a card. And the Rua Augusta Arch free with a card. The Panteão Nacional, the National Pantheon, is a large monument that pays homage to illustrious personalities of Portuguese history. The National Pantheon was installed in the building in 1966 with the purpose of perpetuating the memory of Portugal's illustrious citizens. Several of them are buried in the Pantheon itself, such as fado singer Amália Rodrigues, poet Sofia de Mello Breiner Andresen, and footballer Eusebio, as well as many of the country's political figures. Several cenotaphs pay homage to the navigators Pedro Álvares Cabral and Vasco da Gama, as well as the poet Luís de Camões. The Pantheon is open to visitors and it is possible to climb up to the terrace surrounding the gigantic dome that crowns the building. Needless to say, the views of Lisbon from the top of the Pantheon are very beautiful. The closest metro to the Pantheon is Santa Apollonia on the Blue Line, but taking a bus closer to the Pantheon avoids a short but steep climb. Azulejos, the wonderful blue tiles, are a typically Portuguese work of art you'll find in every corner of the city. There are tiles of all sizes, themes and colors, reflecting various influences incorporated over the centuries and demonstrating that the mastery achieved by the Portuguese in the art of tiling is simply unsurpassed, and a sensational place for those who like beautiful things and want to know more about the history of an art that is part of the Portuguese identity is the wonderful Museu Nacional do Azulejo, the National Tile Museum. As the metro doesn't reach the museum, you'll need to reach it by bus. There is a stop right in front of the entrance to the museum. The Centro Interpretativo da História do Bacalhau, the Interpretative Center for the History of Codfish, is a small museum that provides an insight into another important symbol of the modern Portuguese identity, the national passion for codfish. You may have heard that there are as many cod recipes as there are days in the year. The center contains numerous interactive installations that explain the history of cod fishing and the reasons why this fish became such a fundamental ingredient of Portuguese cuisine. The visit is quite entertaining for both adults and children, with the right to make fools of ourselves as we now see on the screen. The Lisboa Story Center is a small museum which, through interactive installations, tells the story of Lisbon in an entertaining way. The journey through time takes you through the highlights of the city's history, from Roman times to almost the present day, including a simulation of the devastating earthquake of 1755 that changed the face of Lisbon forever. In the heart of touristry Lisbon, connecting Rua Augusta with Praça do Comércio, is the Arco do Triunfo da Rua Augusta, the Arch of Augusta Street. It is a 19th century work that was erected as part of the great effort to rebuild Lisbon after the earthquake which destroyed the city. The arch has a lookout point at the top with beautiful views of Baixa Chiado Alfama and the castle on one side, as well as Praça do Comércio and the Tagus River on the other. You can also get a close-up view of the gigantic sculptures that crown the arch. Access to the arch is from the side facing Augusta Street itself. The ascent is first by lift and then by 2 flights of stairs. The Codfish Center, the Lisbon History Center and the Augusta Street Arch are in the Praça do Comércio in the heart of Lisbon, with the Terreiro do Paço metro station nearby and many bus and tram lines. It is very easy to combine the 3 visits at the end of the first day or 4 itinerary. On the second day we visited the Hieronymus Monastery, free with a card, the Belém Tower, free with a card, the Padrão dos Descobrimentos, now free with a card, and the Pillar 7, free with a card. The Mosteiro dos Jerônimos, the Hieronymus Monastery in the Belém district, is an extraordinary work of art declared a World Heritage Site by UNESCO. It was built between the 16th and 17th centuries and is the best example of Manueline architecture, also known as Portuguese Gothic style, marked by its exuberant forms. The exterior facades of the monastery and, above all, the magnificent cloister of breathtaking beauty stand out. Equally interesting is the church where the poet Luís de Camões, the navigator Vasco da Gama, and part of the Portuguese royal family are buried. The Belém Tower is one of the city's most visited monuments and, along with the neighboring Hieronymus Monastery, is on UNESCO's World Heritage List. Located at the mouth of the Tagus River, the tower was part of Lisbon's maritime defense system and was of great importance during the Age of Discoveries, protecting the port from which Portuguese explorers departed. The tower has many of the typical elements of Manueline art with Islamic and Oriental influences. The exterior is very beautiful. The interior of the tower is open to visitors, although the rooms are empty. Still, it is an interesting visit. The Padrão dos Descobrimentos, the monument to the discoverers, is a monumental sculpture by the Tagus River. It is in the shape of a caravel pointing out to the sea, with Prince Henry the Navigator at the prow, accompanied by the protagonists of the Portuguese discoveries, in the form of gigantic sculptures representing navigators, soldiers, evangelists, and artists. There is a viewing platform at the top of the monument. Access is by lift and a short flight of stairs, and the views from the top are wonderful. In front of the monument on the ground there is a huge and spectacular compass rose. The monastery, the tower and the monument to the discoverers are all near each other in the neighborhood of Belém, with easy access by tram. The 25th of April suspension bridge, which crosses the Tagus estuary at its narrowest part, connecting Lisbon with the town of Almada, is one of the first images that come to mind when one thinks of Lisbon. And to have a closer contact with the infrastructure, we visited the attraction known as Pilar 7, Pillar 7. Located on one of the largest pillars supporting the bridge, the Pillar 7 experience allows you to learn about the history of the bridge's construction and realize the staggering size of its components. The highlight of the visit takes place at the top of the pillar, where you will be taken by lift. From the top, in addition to the views of Lisbon, you will be able to see and hear the bridge up close. And if you are brave enough, you can look out over a platform that hangs from the heights. Tram 15 will leave you 10 minutes away from the bridge. On the third day, we visited the Ajuda Nacional Palace, free with a card, the Royal Treasure Museum, free with a card, the Carriages National Museum, free with a card, and the St. George's Castle, which is now also free with a card. The first visit of the day was the Ajuda National Palace. It is a neoclassical palace built in the 19th century to be the residence of the Portugal royal family, until the proclamation of the Portuguese Republic in 1910. Today, the palace serves as an extensive museum where you can learn about the life of the Portuguese monarchs during the period when they occupied the building. The palace is still used today for official ceremonies of the presidency of the Portuguese Republic. The palace is located in the Ajuda neighborhood near Belém and can be reached by tram 18, leaving from Cais do Sodré, or by several bus lines. The same transport options are available for the second museum we visited, the Royal Treasure Museum, which shares a building with the Palácio Nacional da Ajuda. The modern Museu do Tesouro Real, the Royal Treasure Museum, was inaugurated in 2022 and is spectacular, starting with a building. Inside a bright white building, they built a structure that simulates a large safe, in which jewelry and other wonders accumulated by the Portuguese crown along the centuries are kept and presented. In total, the museum has 11 different sections with many panels telling the history of the exhibits and interactive panels as well. After visiting the museum, we walked down the Calçada da Ajuda to Belém. It's all downhill, about 15 minutes, but if you don't want to walk, you can take a bus. Remember that transport is included in the Lisboa card, and the bus stop is right next to the door of the last museum we visited. Back to the map again to see the location of the two sides of the Museu Nacional dos Coches, the National Carriage Museum, our next visit. Not everyone knows that the museum has two sides, each with its own charm. On the first visit of the afternoon, we entered the modern headquarters of the Museu Nacional dos Coches, a huge building inaugurated in 2015 and where most of the museum's collection is on display. The institution was inaugurated in 1905. The Queen Consort of Portugal, Amélia of Orleans, wife of King Charles I, wanted the carriage collection of the royal household to be preserved. It is a spectacular collection with very beautiful and richly decorated pieces. From the outset, you don't expect anything from a carriage museum, and when you walk through it, you are amazed by the pieces on display. The collection includes carriages from the 17th, 18th and 19th centuries. After the visit to the modern museum, we went to the old museum, which occupies the original site of the museum. Although it only exhibits a small part of the collection, as the vast majority was transferred to the modern museum when it was opened, it is worth entering the old museum to see the building, which is very beautiful. To end the day, we boarded the modern tram 15 almost outside the Museu dos Coches to travel to the final stop at Praça da Figueira. At Praça da Figueira itself, we boarded bus 737, which, in an almost impossible climb through the narrow streets of the Alfama district, passed in front of the cathedral, and one turn to the left, one turn to the right, one turn to the left, dropped us off at the foot of the castle wall. Overlooking the city from above, the Castelo de São Jorge, St. George's Castle, a national monument, is one of Lisbon's main tourist attractions. It was built in the mid-11th century on a site where there were residents in the past. A visit to the fortification allows you to tour the walls and climb towers. Reserve time for the visit, which requires quite a lot of time because you can walk around many different parts of the castle walls. Thanks to its dominant position overlooking the city, you will enjoy wonderful views of Lisbon all the time. Not surprisingly, the castle has one of the most beautiful viewpoints in Lisbon. The castle is the most recent addition to the Lisboa card. The card now includes free access to the castle, one of the main attractions in Lisbon and one of the most expensive too. On the third day, there was plenty of time left over, so we took the bus again from the castle to Praça da Figueira, once again passing through narrow streets and making impossible turns. We walked to the base of the nearby Ascensor do Lavra, the Lavra funicular, and climbed up to the top station. We went down and then up in the Ascensor da Gloria, the Gloria funicular. And from the top station of the Gloria funicular, we walked to the top of the Elevador de Santa Justa, the Santa Justa lift, to go down it. The line to go down is always much faster than the line to go up. On the map, the location of the little route we did to end the day, with the two funiculars we just mentioned and the Elevador de Santa Justa. Could we have visited more attractions? We could have, but we do everything calmly. And even so, we managed to get into quite a few places and make the most of what we invested in buying the passes. We insist we do everything slowly. We are sure you could fit more attractions in a day. And remember that during those 3 days you will also want to take advantage of the old tram and ride the Santa Justa elevator, as we have just done. Let's do the maths, the most indisputable way to assess whether the pass pays off. The savings we made with the pass are what you will see on the screen. We included the price of 3 24-hour transport passes, of which we made intensive use during those 72 hours. The cost we would have incurred if we did not have the pass would be 128 euros. We paid for the pass 54 euros, so we made a saving of 74 euros. Several clarifications. The first is that you are, of course, free to choose the attractions you are most interested in, and also to visit them in the order you prefer. In the video, we have shown you how we did it. It was a planning that worked quite well. The second clarification is that you should pay attention to Lisbon on Mondays. Most museums close on Mondays, so do avoid using the Lisboa card on that day. And the third clarification is about the convenience of using the Lisboa card to get to Sintra. The Lisboa card includes the train to Sintra, but we do not think it is a good idea to use it for Sintra because it does not include free attractions, only small discounts on the price of some of the major attractions. If you use the Lisboa card for Sintra, you will get a very small saving that may not be worth the investment. Final summary: we really like the Lisboa card. From a savings point of view, it is clear that it was a great investment. In addition to the attractions mentioned above, we took advantage of the cities, lifts and funiculars and got around the whole time using public transport. We like passes that include full access to tourist attractions without having to pay for anything else. And the Lisboa card includes some of the city's most important monuments, such as the Belém Tower, the Jerónimos Monastery and now St. George's Castle. We found the purchase, exchange of the voucher and use of the pass very easy. If you want to spend 1, 2 or 3 days visiting paid attractions in Lisbon, the Lisboa card can be an excellent investment. But always, in the case of tourist passes, you have to carefully analyze which attractions you would like to visit and do the maths to see if the cost is worth it. You may choose different places from the ones we selected, we just don't know. For us, the Lisboa card was a great choice, so much so that we've bought it twice. But it has to be a great choice for you too. As usual, if you have any question related to the content of the video, you know where to leave your question. We'll be delighted to try to help. Speaking of Lisbon, you will now see on the screen the list of videos we have already published on the channel dedicated to the capital of Portugal. Lots of important information for a perfect trip to Lisbon. See you in those videos.